Hello everyone, and all aboard today's episode that will feature a scintillating cinematic shark showdown that will prove once and for all which Karkanon-based film is the greatest of them all. Since the dawn of time, or 1975, moviegoers have been thrilled, chilled, and kept out of the water by fearsome feature films that depict the majestic fin, the many rows of teeth, and of course, the eyes. Lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes. Not in competition in today's show is Jaws. 2? Or 3? The original is not... What are we even... Oh, I gotcha. Okay, you see folks, Jaws is taking the day off because, let's be honest, it would not only win every category in today's Versus episode, eliminating all of the suspense that movie is so good at generating, but Jaws could also easily cruise to a win in shows like Best Buddy Movie, Best Boat Movie, Best Spielberg Movie, Best 1970s Movie, Best Movie Score, and Best Movie in which a lead character eats a license plate. Jaws is one of my favorite movies of all time, featuring one of my favorite movie mayors ever, and to paraphrase the great Larry, Versus is a summer show. We need summer dollars. The beaches will be open this weekend for a Shark Silver Medal Showdown. Competing for the title of second best shark flick ever will be Deep Blue Sea, The Shallows, and The Meg. The genetically enhanced swimmers are battling a shark with a vendetta against Gossip Girl and tangling with an ancient beast not seen since before Jason Statham met Guy Ritchie. Pretty solid competition for second place. Wait, no Jaws the Revenge? Come on, that shark swam all the way down to the Bahamas just to rain on Michael Caine's parade. This episode is officially under protest, but I'm told we're short on time. We gotta move here, so we might as well tell you how we'll determine a winner. Round 1, box office. Round 2, Tomatometer / Audience Score. Round 3, iconic moments. Round 4, oh, the humanity! And then we'll do a wildcard round that, I kid you not, might be who has the best fin vanity shots. Sharks are like the cool cars of the sea, and the fin is their spinny hubcaps that the kids love so much. With apologies to open water and 47 meters down, today we will definitively decipher which shark movie can walk into any bar in the world and say, I'm the best there is. Besides Jaws. Smile, you SOBs, and rev up your bigger boat because it's time to get it on.
I want to make this thing bleed.
45-foot shark. You hit me. Nice.
Shit, it could have been worse. I could have let him eat your ass.
Round 1, box office. Although it's not in the field of competition today due to the illegal killing of a sweet doggy named Pippin, when Jaws was released in 1975, movie studios the world over saw dollar sign potential with sharks. Those movies can take butts out of the ocean and plunk them into movie theaters like few creature features can. And our 3 movies vying for the silver medal prove it. The Shallows, Deep Blue Sea, and The Meg can all boast over $100 million raked in each at the worldwide box office. In fact, The Shallows is the only one of our movies that failed to garner at least $100 million at the domestic box office, grossing $58 million here in the States. However, it does remain competitive simply from a return on investment standpoint, as the budget for that movie is by far the lowest, clocking it at around $20 million. Given the fact that the film would go on to earn $118 million worldwide, I'd say we can beef up the craft services for the next go-around. Deep Blue Sea made a bigger impact both here and across the 7 seas, doing $132 million of business domestically and $297 million worldwide on a budget of about $60 million. Meanwhile, the most recent of our releases, The Meg in 2018, is the overall breadwinner, hauling in $146 million in domestic receipts and $527 million across the globe. So it should be an easy swim to victory for The Meg in round 1, right?
Hell yeah.
Not so fast. Deep Blue Sea's budget was about a third the size of The Meg, and it opened against some stiff competition in the world of thrills and chills. Them fancy Mako sharks had to duel against films like The Blair Witch Project, The Sixth Sense, The Haunting, and Lake Placid during its run. Not to mention Runaway Bride and American Pie, the foremost horror movie for baked goods. Deep Blue Sea is also rated R, making its performance that much more impressive. However, The Meg was able to top the charts on its opening weekend, beating out fellow scary flick Slender Man and a limited release of Black Klansman. Plus, it defeated Mission Impossible Fallout in that film's 3rd week of release, confirming that in the next Mission flick, Tom Cruise will definitely attempt to ride a giant shark. In the end, Deep Blue Sea gives a compelling argument as to why it should win the opening round, but at the end of the day, the answer to all of your questions is money. If Amity Island had more money, we could have had helicopters spotting the orca. And if the couple in open water had a bigger budget, they would have gone with a more reputable scuba diving operation. Deep Blue Sea has proven that it's here to win, but for round 1, the nod goes to the Meg. Statham's Shark Punch goes up 1-0 to nothing.
You know, he looks heroic and he walks fast, but he's kind of got a negative attitude.
Round 2, Tomatometer / Audience Score. According to round 1 metrics, everyone loves to see shark movies. That's been scientifically proven in terms of tickets sold, pounds of popcorn consumed, and my unofficial stat that folks take 90% more showers than baths after seeing a shark terrorize humans for 2 hours. Don't worry, bathers. Them shark folk are going to eventually return to rewatch Psycho and go right back to sitting in a tub of their own filth. Speaking of rotten, most shark movies tend to swim in those waters on the Tomatometer. Sure, Jaws is certified fresh at 98%, but every other movie with Jaws in the title is rotten. For funsies, let's count them down. Jaws 2 is at the oh-so-close to fresh Spaceballs level of 59% rotten. Jaws 3D is 12% rotten, which doesn't sound like anything to brag about until you meet its sequel, Jaws the Revenge. Kids, that movie is 0%. Does that even count as being on the Tomatometer? Like, no one liked it? Come on, critics, it's Christmas. In the movie, it's Christmas time. You know what? I gotta get over this. While me and a young Mario Van Peebles recover from this devastating news, let's see how our 3 shark flicks in competition today stack up. The Shallows is, hey, looky here, it's fresh. All right, 78% is a mighty fine score for any aquatic monster tale, and it leads the school here by a wide margin. The Meg has Lady Gaga'd its way far from the Shallows now, as it's a rotten 45%. Deep Blue Sea, squarely in the middle at, once again, the legendary Spaceballs numeral of 59%. Maybe if we had one more Mako, or possibly one less Thomas Jane Hero shot, we could have gotten a fresh. Don't get me wrong, I love TJ, but every time the guy gets out of the water, it's like he just saved Atlantis. We'll talk about that later. For now, the Shallows is in a commanding lead. But what did the audience score have to say about these finned flicks? First off, all of us Jaws the Revenge fans finally get to celebrate. We made it to 15% on the audience side of things. The people have spoken. And while they seem fonder of our 3 movies contending today, I'm not sure an actual shark could survive in such lukewarm waters. Bringing up the rear is Deep Blue Sea at just 39%. 39%? That's a head scratcher. Let me ask you all a question. What were you hoping for in that movie? More sharks swimming through kitchens? I have a feeling that some folks might have been disappointed when a certain someone stood a little too close to the watery ledge in that movie. The Meg holds steady from its Tomatometer score as it registers a 42% audience rating, and now The Shallows finds itself in the dark helmet position of 59%. Let's all take a moment to bask in this anomaly. 3 popular shark movies that did well at the box office were all better liked by critics than regular folk. Huh. Okay, for what it's worth, the OG Jaws is 90% on the audience score, so yeah, there's a reason that's the one we still watch every 4th of July. The music calms the dog before the fireworks start. Well, all the fires set off in this round were legal and under the guidance of a trained professional, and that happens to be how the shark in the Shallows meets its demise. We think, for now, until the sequel, the Shallows dominates the competition easily here and gets a W in round 2. That makes 1 for the Meg, 1 for Gossip Shark, and Deep Blue Sea is still waiting to breach the surface.
You.
Round 3, iconic moments. And now it's time to get out on the open ocean and toss some chum in the water. Shark flicks are widely adored by audiences for those isolated moments of sheer terror, suspense, and graphic violence that they provide. For sharks watching this vid, this round will be about the best picnic scenes in your movies. Starting with The Shallows. Jean-Colette Serra knows how to get under our skin and get a tingle out of our spines, and that ability was on full display from The Shadows once the trailer hit. Kiddies, I now present my college course, Money Shots 101. That shadow is what got butts in seats, and it is such a cool moment because the audience knows more than Blake does about how the rest of her day is going to play out. Job well done. If you're more of a raw survivalist movie honk, don't fret. May I interest you in Blake stitching herself up? Or how about her ingenious plan to test the shark's response time so she knows exactly how long she'll have to execute her next method of attack? and my personal preference is to witness someone else swim through jellyfish as opposed to doing it myself. And wow, does this shark also go through the ringer. Flares, explosions, stabbings, you name it. The poor shark goes through a lot, and it probably just wanted an autograph from Blake Lively. The Meg was billed as a giant summer blockbuster, and director John Turteltaub knows a thing or two about pleasing audiences on a massive scale. I could certainly watch Jason Statham kick and/or get chased by a humongous shark all the livelong day. But the best shot in this movie is all those unsuspecting beachgoers getting a surprise visit from a megalodon. My logic when swimming in the ocean is that I'm good as long as I'm not the slowest paddler out there. But what happens when a shark long thought extinct shows up and can eat all of us at the same time? Panic, probably. But that overhead shot is so cool. I'm all for a monstrous shark taking on a giant squid as well, but too often the Meg missed opportunities at creating true terror in favor of running the standard tentpole movie playbook of, we need to create human connections, they need speaking lines, more comic relief, etc. Okay, look, y'all have more than one cool shark in the movie, right? Good. Stop there. That's all we needed to see. Deep Blue Sea opted for a different approach, giving us a proper horror thriller disguised as a silly shark adventure. And upon rewatching it, it's those suspenseful moments that hold up the best. Oh, and this.
We're gonna seal off this.
Who saw that coming? Samuel L. Jackson was a legit A-lister and the biggest name in this movie by far when it came out in 1999, and then, boom, he's a goner. If only the MCU could somehow make this canon as to how Nick Fury lost his eye. Another genuine surprise was Good Will Hunting's Stellan Skarsgård. Hey, he's in those comic book things too, getting his arm ripped off before an air rescue completely trashes him. Over a decade before Game of Thrones, Deep Blue Sea was offing its stars and leaving audiences shocked. LL Cool J is criminally underrated for his survivalist abilities in both this one and Halloween H2O, and in both, he brings a comedic sensibility that never overpowers the scary tone of the flick. His cook in Deep Blue Sea is the Shakespearean chorus that has us at the edge of our seat as he wades through an indoor flood, hoping to dodge a couple of super sharks. It's a thrilling sequence from start to parrot bite. Sorry, buddy. And yes, Thomas Jane gets a lot of emerging from a pool before going to work as a shirtless Abercrombie mall model shots, but he's also involved as the intrepid diver in a scene where we learn these sharks are so smart, they hunt in packs, can swim backwards, and now they take out security cameras. It's a great moment that keeps us suspending disbelief for the rest of the movie. All three flicks have at least a few scenes that would keep me coming back for more, but Deep Blue Sea strings these together in such a fun, thrilling, occasionally silly, always terrifying, and sometimes stupendously surprising fashion that never slows down. Plus Sammy L. I mean, come on, no one saw that coming. That shark never has to pay for another drink again. DBS gets the win, and we're all tied up as we head towards the shore.
All right. Okay. If this is a lesson about the drinking, let's just say I've learned it.
Round 4, oh, the humanity. Yeah, so unfortunately, when trying to enjoy 2 hours of pure shark swimminess, humans find a way to intervene in these flicks, and they have tricks up their sleeves until that arm gets bitten off. Some make us care about them, others make us hate them so much we can't wait to see them get gobbled up by the real heroes. After all, sharks are the home team in the water. But the question is, which of these movies makes us care the most about the away team? The Meg states a pretty good opening case because us audiences have been trained over the last 20 years to immediately get on Jason Statham's team when he shows up in anything.
You're going to appeal to my better nature. And I'm going to say no, because I don't have one.
He had a pretty rough go well below the surface once upon a time as this movie opens, so when we recruit him for a new mission in the Meg, we want him to succeed. Lee Bing brings the most sense of humanity and why I should be rooting for my own species here, and as much as I'm hesitant about too mumuch comic relief in shark movies, Rainn Wilson does have some solid lines to get giggles and break up the tension.
Did you guys ever watch Shark Week?
However, his overall character motivations feel thin and unrealistic as the threat progresses, but by that point, who cares? I want to see a guy named Jonas spin kick an 80-foot shark. Would I be mad if they tied the Megan with the Expendables franchise? Not one bit. Deep Blue Sea does a much better job of fleshing out our human contingent and making them the protagonists over the much cooler, apparently smarter aquatic foes with fins. We also get a science angle and doing research as a solid explanation as to how in the hell this insanity is happening in the first place. Yeah, we're taking giant risks, but it's in the name of science. Saffron Burrows and one-armed Stellan make for very believable researchers, and Samuel L. Jackson is the perfect choice as the moneybags who has flown in to oversee the operation. If only there were snakes on that plane, we could have gotten a double feature. Most of the heroic deeds fall at the very slippery, trip-prone feet of Thomas Jane's Carter Blake. Back in the late 90s, all the cool heroes had 2 first names. He's great at ascending from the water with perfect hair, but he's not simply a Ken doll. He lends bravery to go along with his brawn, and the movie dialogue is at its best when his sexual tension with Saffron's doctor character turns into ethical debates over what we're doing to sharks in order to better humanity. Michael Rappaport has some solid lines as well, but LL Cool J steals portions of the movie, even from the sharks, with his fight-or-flight self-defense tactics.
We will begin with the perfect omelet, which is made with 2 eggs, not 3.
Deep Blue Sea has an easy time being named the most well-rounded cast of our contenders. Meanwhile, The Shallows is going for the exact opposite approach. We got a surfer, we got a shark, and that's pretty much it. Blake Lively's Nancy has been through some traumatic stuff recently, but nothing could prepare her for the day she's about to have. And it is her performance and her family drama that make us sympathize with Nancy over this cool-looking shark. Similarly, this great white really does have it out for her in particular. So much so, it could care less about a dead whale carcass or just swimming away to meet up with its friends. This movie becomes a personal vendetta one has towards the other, and this town ain't big enough for the 2 of them. Thrilling stuff, but it's tough to pull off a win in a humanity round when the cast is limited to Blake Lively and a few appearances by scattered family members and some beach-going locals. The Meg has a host of players filling out their job descriptions fine, and The Shallows pulls off a remarkable character study for the entire running time, but it's Deep Blue Sea that manages the best of both worlds, confining us to a limited amount of space, very little chance to get help, but we also have enough room for a variety of folks to contribute in a more memorable way. It's close between The Shallows and Deep Blue Sea, and if this round was just about birds that won me over, Steven Seagal might triumph over the late Parrot, who's very good at one-liners in Deep Blue Sea. But humans are essential to a good shark movie. If for nothing else, we need bait, right? And Deep Blue Sea has the best smattering. They won't make us forget about Brody, Hooper, and Quint anytime soon, but they do enough to get their second consecutive win, and they're up 2-1-1.
You ate my bird.
And now it's time for the Wildcard Round. Cue the violin. You know what I'm talking about. Dun-dun, dun-dun. I don't know how to play violin, but I do know that all it takes is that first step into the ocean, the water rises above your waist, or even just jumping in the deep end of the community pool for me to hear that iconic music. The 2 notes from Jaws that send me running to shore faster than the ice cream cart music. If it is that violin that summons our favorite cinematic sharks, then it's only fair that our wildcard round is simply, which movie has the coolest sharks? No, the Meg, I didn't say which movie has the biggest sharks, but nevertheless, the prehistoric creatures emerging to wreak havoc on modern-day oceans do have a lot going for them. Sheer size has to be considered a bonus in a shark movie, and the Meg wins the weigh-in easily. Depending on which scene it is, the primary megalodon in the film is anywhere between 60 to 80 feet long. By contrast, Hooper and Quint argue over whether the shark in Jaws is 20 feet or 25 feet. Hilariously, Deep Blue Sea director Rennie Harlan insisted on the Gen 2 shark measuring in at 26 feet to topple old Bruce off the hill. For The Shallows, the filmmakers made the shark a female to enhance the thrills. Female sharks have scars from mating seasons gone by, so their look is more fearsome, and they tend to be more protective and hence aggressive if met with a perceived threat. Or maybe that shark just hated the movie Green Lantern. The reveal of the shark itself is always an exciting part of a film, and each movie took a different approach to the reveal. The Meg actually takes the longest amount of time, as the shark gave audiences a full 30 minutes to find parking and get snacks before its proper reveal. Rennie Harlan would have already left the theater. His Deep Blue Sea is barely on for 3 minutes before we meet our finned friends. The Shallows has a perfectly paced 23-minute lead-up until we get to see who we're really sharing the cove with on this particular outing. The motivations for each shark are somewhat murky because they don't really get a ton of dialogue to explain themselves, but one could reason that the Megs are simply happy to be back roaming the earth again as the dominant aquatic species, and the shark in The Shallows just seems really pissed. Doesn't want company, it's more of an introvert, I assume. It's the deep blue sea sharks I find the most intriguing because their genetic enhancements work two ways in the film. It gives a credible reason as to why scientists would want to modify them, helping us humans, while at the same time allowing them to get smarter to pull off tricks that liken them more to Jurassic Park velociraptors than Jaws great whites. That could be a major factor in why they have so much more screen time than their competitors. While Deep Blue Sea can brag about over 13.5 minutes of pure mako shark greatness, the Meg just barely gets over half of that, and the Shallows brings up the rear, or dorsal fin, with this 4 minutes of screen time only. But it's not quantity, it's quality, and the Shallows does make it count. Similar in tone to Jaws, the Shallows makes us feel like the shark is lurking the whole time, just out of frame. It may not like to be filmed, but it's a looming presence throughout the duration of the movie. The Meg sharks take their sweet time getting to the stage, but once they do, the sheer size of them lend the film some much-needed scope and perspective. So it's great to have another super hungry great white or an extinct creature coming back out of retirement, but Deep Blue Sea, for all of its silliness, does the best job of furthering the terror we already have in our heads about sharks. They come born with teeth and fins and size, but now they can think and react and hunt and swim backwards. The gen modifications plus the aggressiveness innate in mako sharks make them the most fearsome foes to deal with for my money. The Meg wins the battle of the bulge, and the Shallow shark definitely has the most detailed kill list, but Deep Blue Sea wins the war of wave-breaking fin flopping. After starting out slow, Deep Blue Sea has mounted a comeback for the ages and has won a record 3rd round in a row, and thus, the match.
Are you sure it was just 3 sharks?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's more like it.
And now those PhD graduate school sharks will get to take on Jaws the Revenge. No, we're not doing that. No, it'd be fun for true supremacy in an upcoming episode of Versus that I'm going to do it here in the studio after the crew is left with the lights off and no one will ever know the outcome. 0% on the Tomatometer for Jaws 4. Oh, shit! Well, it's still fun to determine the true silver medal shark spectacle that can stand on a stage with Jaws and say, hey, people like me too. We're number 2. We're number 2. But hey, that's just my opinion. And before you turn off this vid and cancel your beach trip, I'll remind you that Deep Blue Sea is so beloved, it has a podcast dedicated to it. Fittingly titled, Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, co-hosted by our expert researcher here at Rotten Tomatoes, Mark Hoffmeyer, who genetically engineers my brain to retain all the fun facts he sends me. Like this nugget, Deep Blue Sea has 2 sequels, and Deep Blue Sea 3 is actually fresh on the Tomatometer at 71%. Deep Blue Sea 2? Well, Jaws the Revenge? Meet your new roommate, Mr. Blutarski. 0.0. So that's my opinion on the second greatest goodness shark-ish movies. What's yours? Hit me up on social media at Mark Ellis Live with your take, and make sure you're also following us here at Rotten Tomatoes. I'll be back soon with more Versus episodes, and until then, farewell and adieu. I had a drink about an hour ago, and it's probably why Deep Blue Sea won.